7350. Okay. Now, using this data, we will calculate some factors for each day of the week. Okay, so we have, and using the count, okay. So day, count, and we call it the adjustment factor. The factor which we are going to calculate is called as the adjustment factor. Okay, so Monday 1, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday. I missed something. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, okay, fine. Made an extra row. Okay, the count taken on each day for the control count location. 7, 7, 7. Okay, I'm just writing these values. Okay, now for each day of the week on which the data is collected, we'll calculate the adjustment factor. How to calculate the adjustment factor? Adjustment factor is a ratio of average traffic of the entire period upon traffic taken on that day. Okay, so it will be 7350 divided by 7000. 7350 is what? Average of the entire week, and 7000 is the traffic of Monday 1. Okay, so how much is this? 1.05. Okay, same thing for Tuesday as well. The count will change, the average will not change, right? So how much is the factor for Tuesday? 0.96. Okay, 0.96. Okay, for Thursday. 0.88. Then this is same as Monday. Okay, second Monday, the last Monday. Okay, now we will move on to calculation of average 8-hour count for the other locations. Okay, so location, day, and yeah, location, locations, day on which the count was taken. How much was the count for each location? Okay, so now remember our assumption was whatever trend of traffic you see or observe on control count will be the same as coverage count. Okay, so if the ratio of average upon count of Monday is 1.05 on control count, then the ratio of average of location 1 upon the count of Monday 1 should also be 1.05. Okay, So for location 1, I don't have the average value, but I have the count of that day. And I know the ratio of average and that count should be 1.05. Okay, so I will multiply this value with the factor of this day and you will get the average 8-hour count. Okay. 500 multiplied with the factor of Monday, first Monday. How much is this? $6,825. Okay. Next, you take this value and multiply with the factor of Tuesday then. Okay. Tuesday. Okay. Wednesday. Factor is the same. Okay. Thursday. Next. Okay, last. Okay. So now for each location, you have the average 8-hour count. Any questions? You have any questions? Now let us see another variation because our client is a very difficult person. Okay, so he is very difficult to be pleased. Okay, so now he is saying that the earlier plan you proposed of doing the study in 6 days, I cannot wait for 6 days. So I still need to cover some daily variation. So I still need an average value, but I cannot allow you to do it for 6 days. Okay. In the last example, this condition was not there. So we assumed or we decided we will spend 1 day on each location. Okay. But in this case, since the condition is applied to you, now you have to spend less than 1 day on each location. So you can cover it in less than 6 days. Okay. And as I said in the first example as well, the one which we did in the last lecture, how much time you will spend on each coverage location is your decision. Client may restrict you about in how many days he wants the result or for how many days he wants the results. But how do you manage the time given to you by the client is up to you. Okay. So, and this is why we are seeing so many variations of the same example because the conditions are changing and now you are deciding something different. Okay, so these things are not fixed that every time you will spend 8 hours or 4 hours on each location. Now with the new condition, what the team has decided, the traffic data collection team has decided that let us spend 4 hours on each coverage location. So in 1 day we want to cover 8 hours of data. Out of these 8 hours we spend 4 hours on one location. So in 1 day, I can cover 2 locations, 4 hours and 4 hours, 8 hours. And in 3 days, I will cover 6 locations. Okay, so if I go with this condition now, if I try to compress my time to do the study, then I can spend 4 hours on each location. In that case, I will need 3 days to cover 6 locations. So I can finish my study in 3 days. Okay. Now, I will show you the data for the coverage location on the next slide, but you can see the data for control location on this slide. Okay. Again, the same rule, which I told you in the last example. The counting period must match exactly between the coverage location and the control count locations. Okay. So you see the data for the coverage count, control count location is also taken for 3 days because I need 3 days to cover the coverage locations, and the data is divided into 4-hour intervals. So this 12 to 4 and this 4 to 8 is on the same location. I could have given you just one number, 7,000. Why did I divide it into 2 numbers? Because the data is taken for 4 hours on each coverage location. Okay, so this is what I meant by exact matching of control counting period between control and coverage count locations. Okay, so data on coverage count locations taken for 4 hours. So you can see the data for control count location is also broken into 4-hour intervals. Okay, so you see for 3 days data from 12 to 4 and 4 to 8, and then you see the total for each day as well. Okay, 7,000 for Monday, this for Tuesday, this for Wednesday. Okay, now for each 4-hour period, they have calculated the percentage of total traffic as well. So Monday 12 to 4, this 3,000 is 42.9% of total, and this 4,000 is 57.1% of the total for Monday. And same thing for Tuesday and Wednesday as well. You see the percentages over here. Now let me show you the So using this, first of all, we have 3 days of data for the control count location. Okay, these are 3 days. So for control count location, I can easily calculate the average 8-hour count. Okay, so I took the average of the 3 values which were given for control count location. Okay, so this is the average count for control count location. Okay, then like we did in the last example, the one which we have just covered, we can calculate the adjustment factor for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday using the average value and the count of that day. So you can see the adjustment factors for each day. Okay, average upon 7,000 for Monday, average upon 7,500 for Tuesday, and so on. Okay, so we have calculated the adjustment factor, but now they are not for 6 days, they're only for 3 days because the study was done for 3 days. Okay, now in the second table on the slide, you see the data taken from the coverage count locations. The first 4 columns are representing the data and its timing and the location. So 6 locations, the day on which the data was taken on each location, the time on which the data was taken on each location, and the count which was observed, okay, in that time and day. So location 1 and 2 covered on Monday, 3 and 4 covered on Tuesday, and so on. And you can see each count is for 4 hours. Okay, and this is the value of the count. Okay, 22133000. So this count was taken on Monday on location 1 between 12 to 4, and this was taken on location 2 Monday 4 to 8, and so on. Okay, first of all, the first thing which I will do is what we did last time: convert that 4-hour counts to 8-hour counts. Convert the 4-hour count for each location to 8-hour counts using the expansion factors. The expansion factors are basically these percentages. Okay, so I will take the count of, let's say, Monday 12 to 4 and divide it by the percentage which is calculated for the control count location for Monday 12 to 4, which was 42.9%, so 0.429. Okay, so this is the 8-hour count taken on Monday for station 1. Okay, same thing for station 2 as well, but the percentage will be used for Monday 4 to 8. See, 57.1%, which is basically 0.571. Okay, for other locations, then you use it for different days. Okay, so this is now 8-hour count, but this is still 8-hour count for a specific day. Location 1 and 2 is for Monday, 3 and 4 is for Tuesday, and so on. Now, to convert the count of a specific day into average of the week, you multiply with the adjustment factor like we did for the last example. So you take the count of Mondays, you multiply with the adjustment factor of Mondays. You take the count of Tuesdays, which is for location 3 and 4, multiply with the adjustment factor of Tuesday. Okay, and same thing for Wednesday, you multiply with the adjustment factor of Wednesday. Okay, so you multiply with them. What are these last values now? The last column shows you average 8-hour count for each location. Average 8-hour count for each location. So this example is basically a combination of what we have done in the previous examples, the previous 2 examples. The example which we did in last lecture, we were converting 1-hour count to 8-hour counts. This is there, converting 4 hours to 8 hours using expansion factors. And in the last example which we did today, we converted the count of 1 day into average count, and this is done here as well. Okay, so this is this example is good in that aspect. Any questions? Any questions from anyone?
Doctor, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The count of vehicles, is it from the table? Is it given or from adjusted from the previous table?
Which one?
In the last
This
table,
one?
yeah, this count.
This is coming from the field.
So it's given.
It's given, yeah. This is
Okay.
what you have observed.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
I think, Mariam, you were also asking about the same thing, right? The same column, right? Okay. So this is given. This is coming from the field. Okay. This entire column is from the field. This entire table is from the field. Okay. Is there no other questions? Another example. Okay. I shouldn't do this example because many things are the same. Okay. But I will still do most of the steps of this example in the class. I'll give you some steps to do, because in this example, it's a review of what we have just done now and what we have done in some of the previous chapters as well. Okay, so it's a very good example to review all the different concepts. Okay, so again, it's a limited network study. Now we have more locations. So we have one control count location. You can see location A, and then we have 9 coverage count locations. You see the numbers from 1 to 9. Okay, and the study was done. So here we are not discussing the variations, how we can do the study. The study is already done, and I'll explain you how they have done it. Okay, so it was done in multiple days. So again, we have to calculate the average as well. Okay, and let us see how the data was collected. Okay, first of all, okay, important point. They had 2 sets of row tubes. 2 sets of row tubes. Okay, so pneumatic row tube. Okay, we are talking about a pneumatic row tube. So they have 2 sets of it. Okay, so one set of row tubes will be on location A, which is a control count location. The other set of row tubes will be shifted from location 1 to 9. Okay, during the study period. Okay. What we have discussed about row tube, you should know that row tubes count number of axles. Row tubes count number of axles. So whatever numbers you get in the end, you have to convert it to number of vehicles. Okay, so the numbers which I'm going to present to you in the next slide are all number of axles. All these numbers are number of axles, not number of vehicles. Okay, and we have done it in lecture 4 slides. We have already done it, how to convert number of axles to number of vehicles. We have already done it. But I will refresh your minds. I will review that as well. Okay, we have 9 coverage locations. Okay, on each coverage location, they decided, again, this is variable. Okay, and another example, they may decide something else, or you may decide something else. If you are the traffic engineer, you can decide in how many days you want to do it, and at each location how much time you will spend. Okay, and how much break you will take. This is totally your decision, or it can come from the client as well. Okay, but this is not fixed. Okay, the timing and days and locations are not fixed. Okay, so they decided, the survey team decided, that they are going to spend 3 hours 45 minutes on each location. Okay, the total time period for which the data is required on each day is 12 hours. 12 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The data is required to be collected from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so if they spend 3 hours 45 minutes on each location, then in one day they can cover 3 locations. 3 hours 45 minutes plus 3 hours 45 minutes plus 3 hours 45 minutes. It will cover the 12 hours, because then you are only left with 45 minutes, which you cannot spend on any other location, right? You have 12 hours. You decided on each location we spend 3 hours 45 minutes. So within the 12 hours, you can only incorporate 3 locations. Okay. Now, why are they saying 3 hours 45 minutes? Why don't they spend 4 hours full on each location? So 4 hours, 4 hours, and 4 hours. they will still complete 3 locations in 12 hours. Okay, so why are they wasting 15 minutes? They are not wasting 15 minutes actually. Okay, now you see the second table shows you the data from the coverage locations. So on coverage location 1, they are spending from 8 to 11:45. 8 to 11:45. Then on the next location, they are starting at 12. Okay, so where are they spending these 15 minutes? They are spending these 15 minutes to shift the row tubes from one location to the other. Okay, they need some time for shifting, right? Remember, I told you they have only 2 sets of row tubes. One of them is on the control count location. So they have only one row tube, one set of row tube, which they are using on all the other coverage locations. Okay, so they need some time for shifting. Okay, they are doing it at different segments. So you do it in one segment, then you have to roll over the tubes and you have to take it to the other segment. So you need some time to do that. Okay, so they decided that 15 minutes are enough to do that. Okay, so they are having a gap of 15 minutes to shift the row tubes. Okay, or even if it is not necessary, this gap is not necessary, you can still have a gap for rest and so on. Okay, so that's why they need, or they can only take data for 3 hours 45 minutes on each location. So for covering 9 locations, they need 3 days. Okay, and on each location, on each day, they will spend 3 hours 45 minutes. Now, what was the rule about the coverage count, coverage count data and the control count data? The rule was the time period should exactly match with each other. Okay, and this is what you see in the first table here. So first of all, for how many days we collected the data on the control count location? 3 days. Why 3 days? Because these are the number of days we require to collect data on control count location or coverage count location. Okay, so 3 days to complete coverage count locations. So 3 days must be spent, the same 3 days must be spent on control count location as well. Okay, then data on each location was taken for 3 hours 45 minutes. You see the data on coverage count, control count location is also 3 hours 45 minutes. Okay, so on Monday, you see 3 intervals of 3 hours 45 minutes for the control count. It's the same location, we don't need to shift here, but to match the time period exactly with the coverage count location, there should be a gap here. We don't need a gap here, but just for the sake of matching the time period, we have introduced a gap here. Okay, so this is what we mean by matching one to one. Okay, now the steps how to solve this example are given here. Okay, the first step is remove the gap. Remove the gap. How do you remove the gap? Convert the 3 hour 45 minute counts to full 4 hour counts. Okay, how to do that? And we have done it earlier as well. Again, in lecture 4, we did it. Okay, so let us do it for location A first of all. So this entire table will be for location A. Okay, so day, time, and the count. Okay, and the 4 hour. Okay, day, 3 values for Monday. Okay, so I'm not repeating the values. Okay, you know all these values are for Monday. Then Tuesday. Okay, time 8 to 11:45, then 12 to 3:45, then 4 to 7. Okay, and you know the same timings for all the other locations as well. So I'm not writing it again. You can fill the table later on if you want. Okay, then the count itself 3, 2, 8, 4, 1. Just writing the counts which are given 3, 3, 3, and 4, 4. 4, 3, 6, and 5. Okay, I've converted to 4-hour counts. Okay, so the count is taken for 3 hours 45 minutes. 3 hours 45 minutes means 3.75 hours. Okay, it may look a very simple thing now, but many of you make this mistake in the exam. You take 3 hours 45 minutes as 3.45 hours. Okay, 1 hour is not 100 minutes. 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 45 is 0.75 of 60 minutes. Okay, so 3 hours 45 minutes means 3.75. Okay, so 3000 divided by 3.75 multiply by the number of hours I want, multiply by 4. Okay, so this will convert the count from 3.75 hours to 4 hours. How much is it? Keep your calculators at hand. You will be converting lots of values. You will be calculating lots of values. Okay, next. Same ratio. Okay, same ratio. 2800 divided by the same thing, multiplied by the same thing. Okay, how much? Okay, next. And this 3.75 and 4 are only for this example. Okay, because I'm asking to calculate for 4 hours and the data is given for 3.75 hours. If the data was given for 2 hours and I'm asking for 4 hours, so it will be divide by 2 multiply by 4. If the data is given for 3.75 hours, I'm asking you to calculate for 5 hours, divide by 3.75, multiply by 5. Okay, so you need to be aware of what is happening. Okay, the values will not remain fixed. Next. Next. Don't rely on one person calculating all the data. Okay, there are lots of chances of mistakes, and later on you will be getting confused why I got this value. If you all contribute, if you all are doing, then if there's a mistake, you would know. It will help you later on, and it will help you now as well. You will get better with the calculations. And with the on-campus exam, you need the speed. Okay, so now I can calculate the 12-hour count for each day. On the control count location, I can calculate the 12-hour count for each day. Yes, the total of the 3 values, right? The total of the 3 values. So how much is the total for Monday? Give me the total for Monday. Okay, total for Tuesday. 561, 562, not a big difference. Okay, like I said, if you are doing some, there's a difference because of rounding off, don't worry. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, total for Tuesday. 1414. Okay, total for Wednesday. 13441. Okay. Then you can calculate the average as well, right? Give me the average value for all the days on control count location. What is the average for control count location? Average of these values, okay? But each value is for the entire day. So I'm calculating the average of the 3 days. Now, since I have the average and I have the total of each day as well, I can calculate the factors, the expansion factor and the adjustment factor. I will calculate both of them. Let's start with the expansion factor. Okay, so expansion factor for each 4-hour period. Okay, expansion factor for each 4-hour period. So for example, Monday 8 to 12 value is this one, 3200 divided by 10561. How much? Okay, next. Still we are talking about Monday, so the total will remain the same, but you are dividing this value now with the total 2987. How much? Okay, next. Now for Tuesday, the total will change and each value will be taken for Tuesday now. These values. And total is this, total for Tuesday. How much? Okay, next. Yeah, next. Okay, next. Okay. Wednesday. Is it for Wednesday? No. Okay. Okay. Last value. Okay. Great. Okay. Now adjustment factor, like we have done today as well. Average upon the traffic of that day. Okay. So for Monday, and there will be one adjustment factor for each day. Okay. Only one. Okay. So you don't have to do it for so many values. Okay. So 11806, which is the average, divided by 10561. How much? 1.12. Okay, so then for Tuesday, average will remain the same. You know the total for Tuesday. Only use the total values. 1.03. Okay, great. Wednesday. 0.88. Okay, now another important point, expansion factor or adjustment factor. Whenever they are required, they are always calculated from control count data. Okay, so you can see the previous examples as well as this example. Whenever you require any of these factors or both of them, they will always be calculated using control count data. Okay, they are applied to coverage count, but their calculation is coming from control count location. Okay, now let us move to the control coverage count location data. Okay, so this is the coverage count location data. I'll make a table here. Location, day, time. Should I do that? Okay, location, count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And 6, 3, 3, 6, 6, 4, 8, 3, 5, 3, 2, 3, 5. Okay, I'll explain the value how it should be calculated, okay, and then you will do the remaining calculations, okay. So I'm just going to explain from here onwards, because everything which I'm explaining, we have already done it, okay. So it's like a revision. You do it. The values are given in the answer is given in the slides, okay. You can check your values later on, okay. Okay, now I need average 12-hour count, right? So first of all, this value is for 3 hours 45 minutes. Convert it to 4 hours like we did for the previous for the control location. Okay, so this will convert it to 4 hours. Then this value is for 4 hours. You will convert it to 12 hours. So to convert to 12 hours, you divide it by the expansion factor of that day and time, which is 0.303. Okay, so you divide by 0.303. Okay, then this will make the count into 12 hours of Monday. Now you need average, right? Average for the week. Then you multiply with the adjustment factor. To convert from Monday to average, you multiply with the adjustment factor. So multiply by 1.1. Okay, so you will do it for each location. So this will remain the same for all locations. Okay, and these two factors will be on the basis of which day and time, the data was taken. Okay, so for location 2 and 3, the day is same, so 1.12 will remain, but the time is different, so it will be for location 2 it will be 0.8283, for location 3 it will be 0.414, and so on. Okay, so just the factors are changing, all the factors are written here. Okay, so you multiply and divide with the factors and you get the values. Okay, so these values will be number of axles. They are not number of vehicles. So now we need to convert number of axles into number of vehicles. If you go to lecture 4 slides, there was a problem 8.2. It is solved in the notebook as well. You can go back and have a look. Okay, how to convert axle counts into vehicle counts. Okay, I will show you the table for axle count here. I will just review the process, but you will do it. Okay, so what we did, we need average axles per vehicle. We need average number of axles per vehicle. Okay, how do we calculate it? Number of axles divided by number of vehicles. Okay, so number of vehicles, so they did in the same 12 hours, they did a short study to count number of vehicles and their axles. And this is what they found: 1100 vehicles with 2 axles, 130 vehicles with 3 axles, 40 vehicles with 4 axles, and 6 vehicles with 5 axles. From this data, they will calculate number of axles per vehicle. So first of all, take total number of vehicles, which is 1100 plus 130 plus 40 plus 6. Then you calculate number of axles observed. Okay, so 1100 into 2 plus 130 into 3 plus 40 into 4 plus 6 into 5. This will give you total number of axles observed. Then number of axles upon number of vehicles will give you average axles per vehicle. Okay, then you see here, these are the values for average 12-hour counts. After multiplying and dividing with all the factors, these are the values for average 12-hour counts for each location. You take the number divided by the number of axles per vehicle. It will convert it into number of vehicles. Okay, so whatever number you get from after analyzing this table, you will get number of axles per vehicle. Number of axles divided by number of axles per vehicle will convert it into a number of vehicles. Okay, so like I said, we have done these calculations earlier. I mentioned it. Go to lecture 4 slides, problem number 8.2. It is solved in the notebook. Okay, you can see that lecture as well. And try it. Okay, I'll see you guys on Monday now. On Sunday, I have a conference at the time of the lecture. I will not be able to attend the lecture. So I will meet you guys on Monday. My advice, do these calculations by yourself. Even the calculations which we did today, if you haven't participated in it, do it yourself later on. Okay, and see, if you have any questions, any confusion, let me know. If you have any questions right now. The table. This table is missing. This is what I was adding earlier. Okay, I will put it in the notebook, or you can take a screenshot later on from the video as well. Okay, this is the table which is missing. Okay. Any other question?
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Okay, okay. Any other question from anyone? My advice is do the calculations yourself. Okay, even if the answers are given, do it and check the answers, and you know it will help you with the calculations. You pick up the speed and so on. Okay, then in that case, have a nice and long weekend from myself. Enjoy it if you can. I will try to. Pray for me. I'll pray for you, and see you after the weekend, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, thank you.